different choices, how we might have ended up?
No. I like the hand we've been dealt.
We were destined for something great.
Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather. Or the... I don't know, that thing. That magic.
I thought we was trying to get out of this bullshit.
Sounding more and more like a snee-eye itch every day.
My job, my score, get your own!
All the rides are 50 cents, so take those ladies all you just haven't had this much fun.
We should talk about work.
We out here gangbanging like it's 91.
We all love banks. Get me a DJ!
Give me a hand with these bodies.
This cannot be traced back to me.
Champagne, anyone?
Just sort of smash things.
So now what?
It was great to kick today off with a look back at just some of the seminal moments of the last 25 years. And what better way to bridge our past and our future than with a game that's graced every PlayStation console, Grand Theft Auto. It's been a privilege partnering with Rockstar Games for many years now, and we're thrilled to open today with the news that that partnership will continue with PlayStation 5. It's now just over a year since we began sharing technical details of PlayStation 5, but today's the day that we've been looking forward to for years, when we get to show you just some of the games that demonstrate our belief that PlayStation 5 marks the biggest generational transition our industry has yet seen. The content we've curated for today's event showcases how PS5 has inspired developers to create new experiences that are transformative in how they look, sound, and feel. Enough from me. We're going to have the games do our talking.
A hero's just someone who doesn't give up. Your dad said that. He was right. Now it's your turn. Go be a hero, Miles.
Okay, let's do this.
今日は皆さんに僕らが作っている新しいグランツーリスモの情報をシェアできるということですごく興奮しています。今回のグランツーリスモはおそらくこれまでのねグランツーリスモのファンの方がプレイしたら本当に嬉しいんじゃないかなっていう、キャンペーンモードを中心にしたグランツーリスモになっていると思います。ぜひ楽しみにしていてください。
You all right back there? No way. It appears that the dimensions are collapsing on one another. If we cannot get to...
Right, the ship. I mean, we can't be that far.
I have it in my sights.
They have found us, Ratchet.
How do I steer this thing?
Ask nicely.
Slow down, please! Dad's not listening!
The dimensions are weakening considerably.
How bad is it?
Ratchet is certainly not good.
Great!
Where are we?
Beats me.
How many arms you got, beast? We've been boarded! Get off me, ship, pal, creature!
Clank!
Ratchet, we are too late. Ratchet?
Who?
Hi, I'm Marcus Smith, creative director at Insomniac Games. The entire studio is so excited to be able to share with you a first ever look at Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, a brand new, full-length, interdimensional adventure built from the ground up for the PlayStation 5. We're doing things we've never been able to do before, like use dimensional rifts to be able to leap from planet to planet nearly instantly, or put ray trace reflections on Clank. All of our alien worlds are filled with density and life previously unseen. Plus, Ratchet's all-new arsenal is more exciting than ever thanks to the DualSense controller's enhanced feedback. Ratchet and Clank are near and dear to our hearts at Insomniac, and we can't wait to share more with you in the future. But for now, here's another look.
Did you see that?
Like my ride, bro?
Look! It's Ratchet and Clank!
Sand sharks from above.
Nice sand shark! Nice sand shark! My heroes!
Was that a kraken?
Or at least a very large octopus. I will never get used to that.
Hey, break reality.
Don't let him get to the boss!
Did Dr. Nefarious really resurface after all these years just to try and take over the universe again?
Yeah! I kind of wish he was doing a worse job!
He must have more planned than planned.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Making games used to be about these constant trade-offs between the artistic vision and technical limitations. With PS5, we're not going to be burdened like that. We're going to be able to realize our artistic vision a lot better. It's got a ton of horsepower, which is very easy to unlock, and it's a machine that's really easy to develop on. The PS5 will present a paradigm shift as to what players will come to expect from gaming. Will let us tell stories, make worlds, create gameplay that I think will truly captivate the player and really surprise quite a few people. Please take a look at this new franchise for Worldwide Studios, coming exclusively for PlayStation 5.
Over and over, I relive my first moments on this alien planet. The crash. The attack. My death. The crash. The attack. My death. Trapped in this endless cycle. Even death is no escape. Each time I awake, this planet seems somehow different, as if changing. This world is becoming part of me, infecting my mind, my memories. The longer I spend here, the more I can feel my sanity slip away. But I cannot lose hope. My only choice is to keep fighting. To keep looking for answers. My only hope hope is to break the cycle. Before the cycle breaks me.
Hello everyone, my name is Josh Greer and this is my brother Mike. We're from Ember Lab, a small team with a background in film and animation.
And we're very excited today to share with you the first look at our new game. It's a story full of adventure and charm that has themes in personal growth, and redemption. So please enjoy.
I know you are kind. You sense the power that flows through this land. Yet, you do not fully understand it. Driven by the belief that you can help these troubled spirits. But you cannot hide your weakness from me. You have no power here, Kana.
You ever feel like you're just waiting for a sign? To do that thing you've always meant to do. Sometimes I feel like I'm just standing on the edge of doing great things. But something's holding me back. Maybe it's just nerves. Maybe it's the fear that I'll never be as good as what I imagine, when I'm still just standing on the edge. But if we've got nothing else to lose, might as well jump.
This time there won't be
Hi, I'm Lorne Lanning, and I'm here to share with you a game that I've been dying to make. It's an emotionally engaging story where rescuing is rewarding, failure is devastatingly hilarious, and the memories should last you a lifetime. Take a look.
You are no longer a slave, Abe. They believed, trusted, followed, and it led them here. You may have escaped the murderous blades, but the fate of your entire people is up to you. Holy
プレイステーション5によって我々の考える東京のビジュアルを実現できました。今までに見たことのない東京の魅力を見て、聞いて、感じることができます。これからお見せするのはゴーストワイヤー東京の世界初のゲームプレイ動画です。スーパーナチュラルでミステリアスな東京、そこに潜む驚異と美しさを感じ取っていただけると思います。ぜひお楽しみください。
You see things others can't. Hear threats others don't. Fight when others won't. It's up to you to save Tokyo.
stretch, no limousine. If you're talking winners, gotta intervene. I'm the biggest one of those you ever seen. I'ma need a crown. I'm the only one that ever held it down at the tip top. People flip flop every day, not I. Top 5, I'm a big shot. I'm the one that wanna take the big shots. Big balls, big rings, big rocks, big bag, big moves, big cars, big man, big plan. Get lost in this wall. Look at me now, you can't hold me down. So give me the crown. Make way for the tank. We're not the same, we're not the same. We're not the same, we run everything. We're not the same, we're not the same. They ain't got us running through these things. Make way for the king.
It was always gonna end like this. All your hard work, all your sacrifice, only sped up the process. Yourself alone. Only death awaits.
Hakanabrak here from IO Interactive. In Hitman 3, Agent 47 is back for his most intimate and professional contract in his entire career. This is also the dramatic conclusion for the World of Assassination trilogy. I'm so proud to be here to present a little glimpse of the gameplay where Agent 47 is on top of the world in Dubai. Enjoy.
What's up, everyone? I'm Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. Here we go. The first ever teaser for NBA 2K21. Y'all are not ready for this.
Trying to break you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. I don't make a sound when I strike. You better just run for your life. Run for your life. Run for your life. Your life. Run for your life.
Amazing, aren't they? Half bug, half snack. A very recently discovered species, entirely unique to this island. Oh, this one's lively. Beautiful seed patterns. My invitation is open. Come join me on the island of Bugsbucks.
Liz! I was trying to carry a lamp with my weenie hands, but I dropped it, and now the town's on fire.
Oh, again?
Hi everyone, thank you for being with us today for this very special event. But before we get to the end of the show, I have something very near and dear to me.
Deathloop is a next-gen first-person shooter about rival assassins locked in a time loop.
This is our unique vision, what Arkane is all about.
Freeform immersive gameplay, a surreal player-driven story smashed together.
Want to see some stylish action? Check this out.
Hello, Black Reef. Colt, my predecessor, has been pronounced guilty of treason. He is to be shot on sight henceforth in perpetuity. Your assistance is appreciated and mandatory. The real party doesn't start until he's dead.
She is not making this easy. Good morning, Black Reef. Another day, another death. Aren't time loops fun? For everyone else on this island, this place is paradise. A never-ending party, where hunting me is the main attraction. And no matter how I try to escape, they always cut me down. But I'm one stubborn motherfucker. Every loop I'm learning a little more, piecing together the puzzle. There's 8 targets, and they all gotta die before midnight. There's just one little snag.
You thought it was going to be easy?
Juliana Blake, Black Reef's protector and a real pain in my ass. She may kill me 1,000,000 times, but eventually, inevitably, I will break this fucking loop.
I don't like watching you die. I like killing you. There's a difference.
Long ago, a young girl went with her mother to pick berries for her father, who was hard at work. But the forest greeted them with a dark, cold silence. The bushes empty. Yet determined to find the berries, the rascal broke free of Mother's grasp and vanished into the trees. Mother's worried cries faded fast as the girl ran on, over vine, under branch, and into the forest deep.
What is it with that creepy story?
It's just a local tale.
You're really into that stuff?
Quit being so paranoid.
Friendly! Friendly! Who are you? Who sent you? What's going on? They're coming. Who is? Chris? Sorry, Ethan. Why?
What is that?
Freedom. Our freedom.
The old ones perished 1,000 years ago. Their great cities turned to graves. In their place came new life. And new dangers. I must find a way to stop it. Or it will get worse and worse. Until it destroys us all. There's nothing I wouldn't do to save this world. No depth I won't explore. No secret I won't unlock. No barrier I won't cross. This mission is mine alone. If I falter, if I fail, there won't be anyone left to stop what's coming. Comes. I will be ready.
On behalf of the entire team at Guerrilla, we're happy to share the first look at Horizon Forbidden West.
We're continuing Elga's story as she moves west to a far future America.
To brave a beautiful but dangerous frontier, masked with mysterious new threats.
Get ready to explore distant lands ravaged by massive storms.
And take on new, powerful machines as you return
to the majestic world of Horizon.
Stay tuned for much more. We can't wait for you to get your hands on it.
I think there's a lot to look forward to for the community. I think fans are going to be really pleased.
As a game designer and storyteller, this is incredibly exciting. We're talking a whole new generation of ideas and experiences that we can create for the player.
No matter where they are, no matter who they are.
New experiences like we've never had before.
More iconic, interesting characters, more atmospheric, immersive worlds for players to explore.
We want to wow players.
Expect the unexpected. And I, for one, can't wait.
We can't wait.
We can't wait to share them with you.
It's so exciting.
Incredibly exciting.
It's really about love
for the players and for the players.
As a developer, that's an amazing feeling to have.
Welcome to PlayStation 5.
We hope you've enjoyed the first glimpse of our future today. You've seen our most striking console design yet, and you've seen games that can only be enjoyed with the full range of PlayStation 5's features and power. At PlayStation, we believe in generational transitions, and we put years of work into making them happen. We want you to enjoy the unique benefits of moving from one generation to the next. Thank you for joining us. We're launching later this year, and we have tons more to share. Welcome to PlayStation 5.
PlayStation. PlayStation.
Like, I mean, it's easy to get caught up in the hype, but you know, I think it was so substantial. I think the games that they showed, even like the third party stuff, it's like, okay, this is how it's going to play. This is how it's actually going to look. Here is real gameplay. I mean, it's just one thing after the other. It's like you got hit with Demon Souls. Like we'll get into all that stuff later, but you got hit with Demon Souls, Resident Evil 8, the next Horizon game, and the PS5. You got to see it itself, Deathloop. Oh, like, yo, it's
We're gonna spend a lot of time talking about that.
yeah, we have a lot of time ahead of us, but I just want to say, like, there's a very, very strong showing, and I know Tam in particular, there's a lot that made you happy.
Yeah.
Oh man, are we getting into that, or like my general impressions are, like I got some of the things that I wanted, but like all the things that I most wanted, they were the things that I was most hyped about getting. I am so like hyped for what I saw that I know that I'm interested in, and it's a lot of the things that you guys are also interested in. But as a press conference, I think that was like Lucy said, one of the best, strongest that they've had in a long time. It's clear they knew what they needed to do. And also, whether intentionally or not, it felt like an amazing response to what Microsoft has been doing. Microsoft came out real strong. They showed off their console. They've been talking about it, but we haven't had anything from them since. Sony was on the kind of like trailing there with little to no information, and this is the first time they've really given us a substantial amount of things, and it's a lot. And it's games. It's games that you never knew you wanted. It's games that you wanted, and it's games that you now are desperate to play. And they showed off the console. The console look, and we didn't get a price, but we now know what it looks like.
Right, let's kick off then with the actual look of the console itself. Ooh, I'm super into it. Like, we were kind of on voice chat while they were doing that slow reveal with all the spheres and stuff.
Yep.
We kind of lots of spheres, but like, man, I like that it has curves, it has shape. It's like this two-tone. It's got that beautiful blue accent color. It looks. I don't want this to sound hyperbolic but like, it looks so futuristic. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
it looks like Astrobot, is what I'll say.
I was just about to say that. It looks like grown-up Astrobot.
Yeah, I think. Well, the funny thing is that in our rehearsals, I was saying, if they're gonna reveal the PS5, I want it to kind of look like the PS3 with the George Foreman grill type curves. So you got a little bit of that here. Overall, I think the first thing that came to mind was an Alienware pre-built PC. I think because of the two-tone and kind of the blue LEDs. But I'm super into the design. I want to see what it looks like in all black though. Because like, I think Tam, you said it like the two-tone kind of looks a little toy-ish, but man, like overall that design, like Lucy, you said, it does have a futuristic vibe to it. And yeah, it looks really sleek, and I would love to see it in my entertainment center.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing as well is, I mean, a huge thing is that you can get a disc-free version. Like, it's weird because it's like, what is it? The Xbox SAD, the one that comes without without a disc drive. But it's like, I have been slowly moving to all digital. I have since I moved to America 2 years ago, I have one game on disc, and like, so the digital edition is the way that I'm gonna go easily.
For sure, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know if I'm ready to go all digital. I kind of like the disc option, but it's great that they have that option now from the outset, and it's not like a mid-cycle introduction. It is recognizing that people are changing the way they play, and we're now in a position where digital is viable. And like, I hope Microsoft does something similar in that vein. Like, going back to the actual way that it looks, I'm just really, really happy that both console manufacturers, platform holders, are thinking about consoles in a different way from an aesthetic design. Like, Microsoft's obelisk style thing is really cool, really smartly evoking the PC architecture, and drawing upon the kind of like the assumption and the knowledge and the feeling that people have that, like, PC is the most powerful way to play games. So they're leaning on that. And then we have Sony with this really slick futuristic design that is futuristic but doesn't look awkward. Like, it's really, really hard to strike that balance. And you can see, just Google like gaming laptops, and you can see how easy it is to get that wrong. Like, to do a futuristic style piece of hardware that also you look at and you're like, that looks disgusting and it's gross. like the accents on there, the way like it's the rounded edges. Like, rounded edges don't always look well. They can look like toys, like Michael said earlier. But I feel like they've struck the right balance between the kind of futuristic style, the accent on the blue. It's giving off, like, it looks like a cool room that has like a hue light in the background. It looks like you can see it. You can see it like in someone's stream instead of being off center. It's the kind of thing where when you showcase it, when you're playing games, you also kind of want to have it out and looking cool. And like, really minimalist style. Like, I'm not seeing too many ports. I love the way that the white along the edges kind of hides the venting on the black, so you can't really see that element of it. You can't really see the ports. I think it's gonna look really cool in an entertainment center, and it's the first time where, like, it looks like the concept art you would see before anyone's actually, a fan has done a cool mock-up of the PlayStation 5 and it actually looks like one of those. Yeah, I'm really, really like up for it. And if they do have like a pure black one, that's gonna look amazing as well. It will. With like the blue lighting on it, it's gonna look awesome.
Yep.
All right, should we talk about games now?
There's a lot.
There's a lot to get through. And honestly, I know that I was saying that Red Dead would be the one that I thought Rockstar was going to come out with. GTA 5. I mean, honestly, like,
of course,
it should be no surprise. GTA Online is such a juggernaut. Even now, that game came out 2013 originally. That's. I mean, we're now, we're almost at Resident Evil 4 levels of being on as many platforms as GTA 5 is. But I'm very interested in what they were saying with, what was it? It's like an expanded version of GTA 5. I wonder what that means. I wonder if the long-rumored and long-hoped-for single-player campaign edition will come. Probably not. But I imagine it'll just be more upscaling, more things to do in online, expanded and enhanced, coming 2021 for PS5.
Yeah, I think like.
Okay.
I was gonna say it doesn't make it's not a surprise that this is the game that they chose. This one of the best-selling games of this generation, if not all time.
Of all time.
And if you want, if you want a game to show off no loading and how impressive that can be, it's got to be this, right? Like within the city, and then zooming out and then zooming back in between like Franklin and all the other characters, like. That has got to be like one of the most impressive showcases of how because we're used to seeing, the only thing we've seen for a frame of reference right now is the Spider-Man stuff, right? Like swinging, but that's like, apologies if I'm like mischaracterizing the way it actually works, but like streaming in so fast that you can't really see the seams. But like this is a different kind of approach to it where you're like pulling out and pulling back in. Like if they can do that in an instant, imagine how impressive that's going to look. And then obviously you have GTA Online attached to it, a game that is hugely successful, massively lucrative for Rockstar. In terms of expanded content, like Lucy, I think is probably on the mark with some sort of single player DLC. But people have been talking about more heists for ages. That's one of the things that everyone wants, more online heists. And so this could be the perfect opportunity to have that in there as well. Imagine they've been just working on this massive collection of heists all this time while people have been moaning about wanting heists, and now they just put it all out and they're like, there's 10 new heists in this or whatever it may be. That's just like breathing new life into one of the best games of the generation and showing off how impressive the PlayStation console can be.
So it's going to be, online's going to be free for PS5 owners, and if you're playing GTA Online right now, you'll get $1 million in GTA Online cash every month until the PS5 launches, which is crazy. And I mean, like, if there's anything that is going to get you to get back online and kind of level up and ready for GTA 5 on PS5, it's probably that. Next announcement. Jesus. I think this was one of many times during this reveal that we all kind of lost it a little bit. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Holiday 2020. I didn't expect it this soon.
Yeah. Soon, yeah. It's wild.
Yeah. Michael, what do you think of this reveal?
Oh, man. Spider-Man, obviously, 2018 was a great game. It was probably the Spider-Man game that everyone always wanted. But Miles Morales at the front and center is what some of us, or many of us, would want as well. It's man, Tam, you were talking about how maybe this is more of an expansion based on the 2018 Spider-Man, or if this is a separate game. We're not exactly sure at this point. There might be stories out there right now, but we haven't been able to kind of keep up with that. But putting Miles Morales front and center that's the right call, 100%. I want to be Miles Morales. I want to experience his experience as Spider-Man. And yeah, this is I'm excited for this. Like, I've been like I respect Spider-Man, like the whole universe, and especially 2018 being such a good open world game and a good representation of Spider-Man. But this, like, I think they can do some really bold things with the story. I hope he's not a cop. 100%. Because Spider-Man 2018, it was low-key cop vibes, and I'm not about that. But I do want to see how they handle Miles Morales as a character. And I mean, if we think about Spider-Verse, the movie, that was an incredible representation of not just Miles Morales, but the history of Spider-Man in that one movie. And if this game could do something like that, come close to that, home run, guaranteed.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really interesting. It kind of it is both a surprise and not a surprise that they moved on to Miles. Like, he was in the original game, obviously, and it was part of Peter's story. But given how successful that is, like it would feel like a safe move for them to stick with Peter and carry on doing more with Peter. But the fact that they're doing Miles is such a smart and really cool thing. I expect Peter will be in this game taking like the mentor role, and his story could be like the storytelling potential is so cool, because the first game, like this first Spider-Man game, is also in a large part about Peter coming to terms with being betrayed by a mentor, right? And he knows how that feels, and he knows he's learning himself now what it means to be a mentor and the impact firsthand it can have on when you're not doing that correctly. So I imagine him being in this game as Miles's mentor and having to contend with what he experienced in the previous game to try and be a good father figure for Miles and be a good guide as Spider-Man for him. I think like there's a lot of storytelling potential there, and it kind of dips into some of what Into the Spider-Verse did with Peter and Miles, and also provides enough like runway for them to do something unique and of their own. So that could be really exciting.
Yeah, and then next up we had Gran Turismo 7. I am gonna put it out there. I'm not a big racing game person. Either of you? Michael.
Hey, like I keep telling everyone, I used to be an amateur racer. I used to be a tuner. I'm very much into cars, and Gran Turismo. Okay, so Gran Turismo on PS1, the very first game, is a huge reason why I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I knew all about cars because of that game. And I actually took that into practice in real life. So shouts out to Gran Turismo. So Gran Turismo 7, though, from what I'm seeing, like I love my sim racing games. And I'm watching this, and it's Gran Turismo. It's sim racing in the next generation. So I wouldn't say it's surprising, or to say it's not impressive, I think it would be the wrong sentiment. But I mean, the impressive part will come from how they integrate a lot of the systems and the game modes that we've seen in Gran Turismo, because there's only been one Gran Turismo game in the PS4 generation. It was GT Sport, which focused on online racing specifically. There was no single player stuff really, and it focused on competitive aspect of racing for e-racing. But Gran Turismo 7, it obviously looks incredible. Like racing games, sim racing games are easy showcase to show off the power of a new console, as we see with Forza games on the Xbox side. So of course the GT7 will do that as well. But I just wanna race in the best possible fidelity. So that's why I'm excited for GT7, and I hope they incorporate a lot of the single player stuff that we've seen in series past, while also taking the best aspects of GT Sport that we saw a couple years back. So you get the best of the single player, you get the best of the multiplayer, and I want lots of cars, man. I need my Skyline. I need to deck out my Skyline. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Gran Turismo as a franchise has always been. I don't think like its place within the PlayStation pantheon of franchises seems to have diminished. Not because it's changed in any way, but like PlayStation has so many more franchises now that hit bigger. But for a lot of people, Gran Turismo, in the same way that FIFA, Madden, Need for Speed does, transcends the gaming audience, and that they know Gran Turismo as a PlayStation franchise, and it's the kind of thing where, oh, this is the game I'm going to buy, this is going to be my racing game I'm going to dedicate to. I know plenty of people, in the same way that people always say about FIFA, Madden, and all these other sports games, they buy a PlayStation for Gran Turismo, and they get to immediately see how amazing it looks and see that kind of stuff. That's kind of Polyphony Digital's kind of, not trick, but like it's it's what Sony banks on them for. Like, we're going to give you hardware, you make the best looking game you can, and when they do, it always looks incredible. I mean, I'm not the kind of person who plays a lot of racing games. I have been known to live my life a quarter mile at a time now and then, but you know, I will still buy that game for, like, you know, the visual splendor of it, just to look at something and be like, yo, this is what it looks like now. Imagine what it looks like, the games, how they're going to look years from now. But yeah, exciting.
Yep, and we saw Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. What was it saying? Ray trace reflections built from the ground up for PlayStation 5, DualSense controllers, enhanced feedback. I'm very excited. I mean, it just looks really good. Like, look at all those particle effects, and it's like, you know, when Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and you play those, and it was like, this is what I thought Pokemon looked like as a kid. This is similar for Ratchet & Clank. Like, I didn't know it could look this good.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me, what stood out in the Ratchet & Clank demonstration, the gameplay, was the load times. This is an example of PS5 really cutting down on load times. So the Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and it looks like that Ratchet has a mechanic in which he can teleport between rifts and go to different worlds in a split second. And I thought it was really clever that this would be the showcase for what load times can be without explicitly saying it. Because to go from one rendered area to another, that's a lot of assets to load, a lot of, we all know load times in games. Going from one area to another is going to take some time, even on current generation consoles. And we've cut down on that with NVMe SSDs on PC. But of course, as one Mark Cerny has talked to at length, is cutting down on load times and really showcasing how strong that SSD is and how much of a game changer it is. Because in this case, with Ratchet & Clank, it's not just load screens that are cut out, it's an actual gameplay mechanic that is being put into the game that shows off that kind of power. So it's not just cutting down on load times.
Yeah. All right, we have so many more games to go through. Let's start rattling through some of them. Next up, Project Athia from Square Enix. So this is a new one. Gary Whitta, writer of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is on this project, has got a bunch of other, he said, like, TV and movie writers. I'm super into this. This trailer for me looked really cool. Like, I just want to know more about it. I mean, obviously it's a rendered CG trailer, but who is this? I mean, is this character Athia? What is she gonna do? What is that dash? It looks like something that you would get from maybe Platinum. I think that's what we were talking about when it was first revealed. Yeah. Tam, what do you reckon?
I think it's weird because, like, Square Enix, I'm trying to think if there's, before I put my foot in my mouth, is there any sort of like traditional Platinum style action game that Square Enix has in their stable, and nothing immediately comes to mind. We know them for RPGs, and the closest they get is something like Dissidia, so it's not super surprising that they want this kind of game. Nier is probably the other one, but like Project Athia, it looks really cool. I love the way it moved. Like you talked about the dashing, and like the super fast kind of like timing-based combat and movement stuff is something that we're really, really into. I'm really, really into. Gary Whitta writing it is interesting. Like he's done a lot of amazing work. Obviously now known for his Animal Crossing talk show, but before that, Star Wars, and recently worked with our friend of the show, Greg Miller, on a DC thing. So a lot of writing chops behind it. I'm interested to see more of it. It kind of reminded me of the demo that Epic showed off for Unreal Engine 5 recently. It looked like, I was like, oh, is this that game? But like it's got similar vibes to it. So if you were sad that the Unreal Engine tech demo wasn't being turned into a game, maybe this is it. I think this is one of the games where I'm like, I'm excited to see what this is. I want to see more of this.
Another one of those for me is Stray. So Michael, can we please have our cat correspondent Sushi weigh in on Stray? Came from Annapurna, cyberpunk world. Looks like you play as a cat.
Sushi does not care one bit.
She doesn't care.
You don't give two damns.
Yeah,
But
this. I mean, we have a Slack dedicated to cats so I think we can all say team here is like very big into cats. So the idea of like just an interesting angle, right, in exploration and kind of like having an adventure game. This is something that games seem to be doing way more these days, like anthropomorphic or like straight up animal adventures. And I kind of love the idea of doing this. Like, make more cat games and make more dog games. Let me play as bird or whatever it may be. But like, everyone has that question now and then when they see a cat, and you're like, "What are you doing when I'm not looking at you?" And this is it, going on an adventure.
I want to know what's in that backpack. Oh, yeah, sushi.
What's in there?
No comment.
Sushi Sushi's not.
She's under NDA. So she can't really talk about it right now.
She was the motion capture.
She's so sleepy.
It's
when you ask what cats do.
I was going to say a non-disclosure agreement.
Wow.
Oh my god. I'm moving on. Next up, a new project from Housemarque. People who came up with Resogun for the PS4 launch. Looks cool. Suffers from bad name. Returnal. It's very, very Revengeance vibes from that name, but the gameplay looks cool. I think in the notes that I wrote, reminded me a bit of Alien meets Prey, especially with the memory manipulation stuff. But when it gets to seeing some gameplay with the gunplay, very big reso gun, bright, powerful colors, lasers, quickly firing at things. Looks really cool. That name, man.
Returnal, yeah. I mean, it's Housemarque is very much into the top-down shooters. That was like just kind of their forte, if you will. But this is more of a third-person, over-the-shoulder type shooter. So it's still channeling some of the same energy that Housemarque is known for, but doing something a little bit different. And I mean, I can't remember was it Housemarque that did Resogun on the PS4. Yeah, so then Resogun was a PS4 launch title, so they're coming out with the PS5 launch title, so that's nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that they still have that really strong relationship with Sony.
Yeah, they stuck to like arcade style shooters for a really long time, and they've always made amazing games. So seeing them branch out and try new things is only a good thing for everyone.
We also saw Sackboy, a big adventure, so definitely the Little Big Planet license is pretty much definitely in the care of Sumo Digital now. Media Molecule obviously working very hard on Dreams. Looks really cute. I've kind of missed Sackboy. I missed Little Big Planet. I just don't think there's a series quite as wholesome. Will it? Is it a day one purchase for me? Maybe not, but it's still very, very cute looking. Big Tearaway vibes there too, actually.
Yeah, I think having Sackboy back in the mix it's just a feel good moment for a lot of PlayStation fans, right? Like that's what Sony want to do here. Give people as much reason to pick up a PlayStation, and a big part of that reason could be nostalgia. Like even if you've fallen off gaming or haven't been buying up to date games, or you see Sackboy and you're like, oh, I remember playing Sackboy. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. And yet another reason to kind of enjoy it. And a lot of the Little Big Planet part of it perhaps doesn't make sense anymore with Dreams existing, so it makes perfect sense for them to take this kind of mascot and turn him into just a straight up platformer. It worked really well for Astrobot, so bringing him back, making him a little PlayStation Mario. Let's do it.
Is this what we're getting instead of Knack 3, you think?
Take what you can get.
Yeah.
All right. After that, we had Destruction All Stars. I don't really have much to say about that one. What about you guys? Look quirky.
It's like Rocket League with
Rocket League,
some more destructive stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Look cute, look quirky.
I mean, it looks like it's got some tood. We'll see. The interesting part of it is like people being out of the car. That's the thing that's really kind of intrigued me. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're running at the same speed as cars? Are they just like wall running at the same time? Like, what happens to the car when you get out of it? Does it just go into like autopilot? What's happening? So I think it's a slight mystery at this point. So hopefully we get more information about it soon.
Next up, is it Kana Bridge of Spirits by Project Ember. So it's Mike and Josh Greer. Which looked very pretty.
Yeah, Kenna, I think is
Kenna.
Yeah,
It's basically
I think that's
Pixar,
how
if Pixar made a game.
Yeah, it's really cute. It definitely has that, at least in the character design. It's very much that Pixar kind of the big eyes and the round faces. And I think if the main character her name is Kenna, then like it's a really cute character design. And I think you said this during the stream, Lucy, is that it's like Horizon Zero Dawn made by Pixar, and like if that's also a little bit of a Pikmin element because of those little things that it seems like she controls or that follows her. That's looks to be
kind of like soot sprite from Totoro, a little bit.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, and then so it looks like that's going to be a major mechanic. So you got like a little bit of a Pikmin vibe to it. So yeah, I want to see more of that.
It looks really cute. And I mean, like just watching this trailer again, it looks like it's got a lot more depth to it than I think it's just saying, oh, it's got a Pixar aesthetic. We should give it definitely some more credit.
Right.
It looks like that's very Okami. Breathing life back into the world. It's very cute. I'm very excited for that one. After Kenna, we had Goodbye Volcano High from, is it Co-op? KO_OP up in Montreal. Very big Life is Strange meets Night in the Woods vibes. I say Life is Strange because it's obviously dealing with a lot of heavy issues, it seems, but also Night in the Woods because of the anthropomorphic creatures. Like, they're all dinosaurs, I guess?
I ain't got a clue what these things are, but they're cute.
It's cute, and I wonder what kind. It's difficult to tell from this, like what kind of gameplay it's going to be. Is it going to be more like a visual novel, or are these just cutscenes that we're not seeing actual gameplay yet? But it looks like it looks different, and I think that's a really big, cool thing from this reveal. Like we were talking at the beginning, and we were expecting things like COD, but it's nice that Sony are putting games like this front and center in the big PS5 reveal. Yeah,
there's a lot of variety on show. Impressive amount for a showcase like that. We had a sports game, we had adventure games, like indie games, action games, first-person shooters, or kind of first-person shooter. Don't know what that counts as, but yeah, like a good amount of variety. And I think a lot of people, again, really smart from Sony to hit as many demographics and interest points as possible. I think that game looked cool, and even if it's not for you, there's probably a whole bunch of people out there that are like, oh, that seems interesting, I'm going to keep an eye on that. So well played, Sony.
Next up, Oddworld Soulstorm. So we had Lorne Lanning come and introduce it. Like, looks really cool. And I used to play quite a lot of Oddworld as a kid. It's so weird to see it in such high resolution. I remember playing it on the PS1. But it looks really cool. It's
the most important thing for me seeing this is that it sticks to the 2D Oddworld, the foundation of the original Oddworld games, that it is 2D, and I think it doesn't mean that the game is going to necessarily be oversimplified because it is mostly on a 2D plane. Like, it's showing off some pretty clever mechanics, and it could still be visually striking, even though it is still adhering to that spirit of the original games. And like Oddworld, honestly, that is as silly as it might lean into some of its humor. Oddworld is pretty heavy, and I think, like, I don't know, for a new Oddworld game to exist in this day and age, I think they really need to nail that. They really need to go all in on hitting those heavy themes with Oddworld. And I want to see that. I would hedge my bet on it doing something good in that regard. But overall, I'm happy to see Oddworld in 2020, or 2020 was it coming out in 2021?
I think it's 2021.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about. So for me, the show was completely stolen by Bethesda. They came as soon as I saw Shinji Mikami. I kind of glad that we went live because I made a weird little squeal. But we saw more of Ghostwire Tokyo. Woof. I think when we went, yeah, I think I've been down that street in Tokyo. Like he was talking about how the PS5 allowed them to recreate Tokyo with way more authenticity than they thought, and actually make you feel like you're in Tokyo. And then all this cool magic. I guess like magic is that the paranormal stuff happens. It's like the best way to describe it. But I love the fact that it's not fantasy magic. It looks pixelated. It looks like I don't know, like how to describe it, like a retro game or something.
Yeah, it's like like magical futurism, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really, really cool. So like they kind of like detailed a bit more about what is going on, and it's just like you 99% of the city's population is gone. There's some weird occult event, and like there's darkness has like submerged the city, and you have to just go around and kind of like reclaim it. But I think it's just an excuse for them to do really weird things around the city, and like the whole thing is like you're seeing spirits that are kind of inspired by Japanese like mythology and kind of like history. So like the kid in the yellow coat is like, I think it's a Amewarashi or something like that. It's like a young kid in a yellow raincoat, and like influenced by super powerful emotions of sadness. And then there's like Shiromuki and Kuchisake, other types of demons in there that are like around the city that you have to battle and purge from a first-person perspective, which we didn't expect. But
no, I didn't expect that at all. But I'm super into it. After that, we had Jet the Far Shore. So that's Holiday 2020 from the Super Brothers team, who are best known for Sword and Sorcery. Tam, you were super into this one.
Yeah, Sword and Sorcery, like my hype on this is based entirely off Sword and Sorcery. Like I love that game. I think it's fantastic. It's still like super, super good if you download it and play it on, I think it's on a consoles as well now, or at least a console, one of the Nintendo ones. But I originally played it on iPhone, and it's got such a great soundtrack as well. Really smart use of like interactions and gameplay mechanics. So that studio has been kind of under the radar for a while now, so I'm excited to see what they've got going, and this looks way more ambitious than anything they've done before. So that team is incredibly creative. So again, like super intrigued into what this can become and what more there is to it when they show it.
We still have like over 10 games left, so let's keep going. Godfall. We did predict that we would see more of this one. I love the look of the gameplay, but I think the music choice did not do it for me. Maybe that's just me nitpicking, but like I think I said when we were chatting, I said it was like a very Borderlands pick, and it didn't seem to fit the tone of the game based on the gameplay that I was watching. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. I think for me, it was more of like, no one knew what the vibe of Godfall would be. Based on, I think, my impressions before when it was first revealed, to be like, okay, this is sort of like maybe a God of War Warframe style of game. And it's still kind of like that. I just don't know what the vibe was going to be, if it's going to be lighthearted, if it was going to be story heavy. And I think that eventually we found out that it's supposed to be like a looter style of melee game. And I mean, it really depends on what they're going for, and it's hard to tell what they're going for just based off of visuals and short gameplay clips. So I mean, I'll reserve judgment until we kind of get a better, fuller understanding of the system's mechanics and kind of the world building around Godfall. Not surprised that I guess Gearbox would go in this direction with some sort of more lighthearted, less heavy, like you said, almost Borderlands vibes to it. So there's still more to be seen, but I'm definitely getting some Warframe vibes in a more lighthearted sense.
Next up, from another one from Anna. Ooh, carry on.
I was just going to say it'll be interesting to see whether that's actually in the game or just like a marketing thing, like that music.
Sure.
I assume it's just marketing.
Yeah.
Another game from Annapurna from the Hyperlight Drifter folks, Solar Ash. Looks, I mean, when we were watching the trailer, the color palette, actually the aesthetics of the game reminded me a lot of Monument Valley, but it did look very pretty. I mean, I'm excited to see more of it, but at the same time, it was followed up by, we'll talk about it a little bit because it's on screen. It looks really pretty.
Yeah. Hyperlight Drifter was one of my... Yeah, Hyperlight Drifter was one of my favorite games of 2016. I think it really stuck with me. It really hit me in the way in which it said a lot by not saying much. So I think like Alex Preston from Heart Machine did an incredible job of communicating that in such a it's also like pixel art style. So it's very hard to communicate those things in that art style. So this definitely has that Hyperlight Drifter vibe. But now going in from like a top-down 2D Zelda type of thing to a full 3D world, and what you said, it's almost like Monument Valley. The sense of scale is so much bigger, and I have a lot of trust in Heart Machine to do right by the name of Hyperlight Drifter, obviously, because they made their mark with that game.
But then, next up, a genuine surprise. Did not see this one coming. Hitman 3.
That is, again, like another game that if you want to show off like how much the technology improves the game, like Hitman is a current game, Hitman 2 especially. People are actively playing that game, it's actively being supported, it's front of the mind, top of the brain. So when Hitman 3 comes out, and you can almost do a side-by-side comparison, and these are games where they love a crowd in Hitman. They love putting crowds in Hitman. They love some like physics-based kind of simulations, and AI is super important to Hitman, and creating these elaborate like dioramas for you to walk through and manipulate and pull and see how they impact. Like another game that is going to be very illustrative of the leap in technology and what it means, even if it's just the starting of that technology. Obviously, Hitman 1, the original reboot, not the original game, and Hitman 2, the follow-up, both fantastic games. Some of the best like action and like strategy and puzzle-solving games in recent memory. I'm super excited to see where they go with it from here. It's the conclusion of the trilogy, they say, which means the story should be wrapping up for Agent 47. What does that mean? How do you wrap up a story for Agent 47? He's the face of that.
Move on to Agent 48.
Yeah, Agent 48 is here. And I hope they put a Sheikh Zanzibar in there and Helmut Kruger. So that's what we need.
I really just hope it maintains the goofy sense of humor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the one thing I said when the reveal trailer went up is that Agent 47's got feelings now, because Agent 47 throughout the whole history of the franchise, like this very sterile type of clone person who just knows how to kill targets and assassinate folks. But if we're gonna go deep into some sort of backstory on Agent 47, I want to see what they do with that. So
yeah. Definitely. All right, let's rattle through these next couple. So we've got Astro's Playroom, very cute.
Cool.
I imagine that will be the game that will really show off the DualSense to its fullest capabilities. Little Devil Inside. So this one looked a little bit like art style, kind of reminded me of Don't Starve a little bit. From the team Neostream. I think this one was actually a Kickstarter game from a few years ago when I was looking it up. But it does look very cool. Like it looks unique in terms of its like the gameplay itself. It looks like a big mishmash of things, but I really like that. I'm intrigued to see what the loop will be.
Yeah, the papercraft art style looks really cool, and it's a trick to just make big eyes, because everyone loves big eyes. It endears you towards these characters. So look at the size of those eyes. Everyone loves it.
Thank God we're joined by an American on stream. NBA, Michael.
Yo, NBA 2K21, ballin'. Well, so we got Zion Williamson, front center. I think he's cover athlete for NBA 2K21. I'm a little surprised by, I guess, how little they showed, because all we saw was Zion Williamson in the he's just practicing by himself, alone in the practice court. The one thing I'll say is that he's very sweaty, like in a way that reminds me of the consistent layer of shine that the early 360 days had. Like it's so like it's like so shiny to the point where it looks like fake. I'm sure the game is going to look great, and I know that player likeness is such an important part of getting immersed in NBA 2K. But I mean, I think they're doing it a little bit much with the lighting and the reflections. But you know, I'm still.
Look, someone worked really hard on those sweat physics. Okay, they're gonna show.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
Moving on, new game from the Octodad team. I wondered what they'd been working on, because Octodad came out like years ago. I wasn't even at GameSpot then. I've been here almost 6 years. So it looks really cute. It's called Bug Snacks. It's a world. It reminded me of like a you know, the dream that Homer Simpson has where everything is chocolate. This is it, but like everything is just food. It looks really cute. It looks really weird, and I mean that in the best way. Like in terms of a concept, everything is food.
It looks
but also I want to know
really
about their limbs.
There's something sinister happening here. Like there's something really, really sinister happening here. Because this lad is on screen. He's like, "Come to my village. Come to my island.
I know,
we'll
but like
hang out."
my arms are hot dogs.
Yeah, and he keeps like eating things and becoming them. Like this is some straight up cult. Like, yeah, come to. Well, you'll have a great time here. And then when you get there, it's like my man's gonna eat you and become you. This is all just like a weird, like, I'd love it if it became like a horror game of slowly, and you're like, oh, he just wants to eat everything. How do we get off this island?
Wait, isn't there a Dark Souls boss in Dark Souls 3 where he just eats everyone? And like,
I mean, there's a lot of Dark Souls
there's a lot of
bosses
Dark Souls bosses.
that are eating.
That's a good transition, by the way.
I know, I was gonna say the transition because I forgot the Dark. It's not Artor. Oh. It's the one that I had a hell of a lot of trouble with in Dark Souls 3. Anyway, speaking of Souls, Tam, are you feeling okay?
No, not at all. I hurt my hand because I slammed my desk too hard, and I think I might have fractured one of my hands or something. But yeah, Demon Souls, like, it was one of the things we said in the pre-show that I would absolutely love to see, and I am so happy that people are getting a chance to play this game. And you know, I said it in the pre-show, a lot of people, their first experience of this kind of game might have been Dark Souls, and then they've stuck with it since then. And the unfortunate thing is, like, that if you came into it in Dark Souls and beyond, like, it was difficult to experience Demon Souls and also play it in the way that it originally came out. It's such a phenomenal game, but like now that it's available, like just looking at these bosses, looking at these enemies and areas, it's one of the most. I remember playing Demon Souls for the first time when it originally came out. I imported it from Japan, and I couldn't really understand a lot of it, but this game, even though we've had multiple Souls games, we have had Souls clones, there's still something in the feeling, in the soul, for want of a better phrase, of this game that no other game has kind of captured. The feeling of being like unsettled and afraid and unsure of what's behind every other corner. That might sound like every other Souls game, and in a lot of ways it kind of is, but there's something the way that this game does it with ambience and music and storytelling and general vibe that none of the other games capture as well. Like Bloodborne comes close to it, Dark Souls 1, like Filing Shrines specifically, comes close to it, but Boletaria, there's something about Boletaria that is just quite special. And I'm so happy that they're remaking it, and I'm so happy that it's Bluepoint that are doing it. Bluepoint, like, knocking it out of the park with everything. They care. If this turns out to be a bad port, it would be something for the books, because they haven't done a bad one of those yet. They put in so much time, effort, and love. You can watch like our audio logs on Shadow of the Colossus just to see how much they care.
Great plug, thank you.
Yeah, like, and if they're putting that as Souls wouldn't be what it is right now if he didn't take a shot on it. And like, you can lay the success of that game from software and everything that has come in a large part to Shuhei Yoshida. So I imagine he's putting in the work to make sure that they're bringing it back as as it should be in its entirety. So I'm confident they'll have the network stuff in there as well. It's Demon's Souls, baby. Let's go. Finally.
Next up, this one, I love Arcane. Dishonored is one of my favorite games of all time. I always have Dishonored 1 and 2 and Death of the Outsider ready to go on my PlayStation just to dip in. Dishonored to me is what Metal Gear and Souls games are to Tam. I've never, and like I've been fortunate enough to interview the team at Arcane before, and I don't think there is a team that are so artistically driven and have such a focus on what their world looks like and how that feeds into everything else. Obviously, there are huge Dishonored vibes here. That slide, the power that we're going to see here looks a lot like Blink. It just looks... God, I'm so excited. But the premise of it, it's like a bunch of assassins caught in a time loop. You have a list of people to whack, for lack of a better word, and you can rewind time?
Yeah.
And if things don't go your way, like, it's so many things. And like, the more they talk about it, the more it's like, God, this is just so Arcane. Sebastian Mitton there, who he was the art director on Dishonored, and I believe he was actually a fashion designer, or he thinks about that really, really intensely, which is why all the characters have such this gorgeous, unique look to them, very stylized. And God, this trailer.
I think what I'll say about like Deathloop is that I'm getting a lot of, like, if you track what Arcane has been doing recently with like Prey Moon Crash, which the concept of making Prey into a roguelite style of game, that's kind of the message that I'm getting from Deathloop, and also the incorporation of Dishonored style abilities with Wolfenstein style shooting. Now, Arcane did touch Wolfenstein Youngblood, which came out last year, so I'm getting a mix of Dishonored, Wolfenstein Youngblood, some of the lessons maybe they learned from doing Prey Moon Crash, all mashed into one. And the concept is obviously intriguing. The art style is very intriguing. The idea of, at least from what I'm getting across, is these two assassins, rivals, but they're kind of still in like the antagonist to a privileged society. I want to see where that goes. And like, look, we got two black protagonists front and center here. This is Arcane can do something very, very powerful, something really, really cool with this concept, with these two characters starring in this. And I share the same level of excitement with Lucy in this, because Dishonored, like immersive sims, that is 100% like my shit. And you know, Arcane don't miss. They do not miss when it comes to their games. I love Prey so much. Dishonored 1, 2, Death of the Outsider, and the whole history of like Harvey Smith going back to Deus Ex. I know this is Arcane Lions, but that history, that mentality that's been ingrained in Arcane, dating back to like what Harvey Smith has done in the past, way in the past, and then now to see what this is going to be. This is definitely one of the most exciting games of the next generation for sure.
Yeah, and like the stuff that they, like, as you mentioned, like I love stealth games. Like stealth games are the other thing that I go crazy about, and those two, Dishonored 1, 2, Death of the Outsider, I've done like a no spot, no kill runs on them. And the thing that excites me is like they think about stealth and the world that they're building in a way that so few others do. Sometimes it hurts to think. I remember having a conversation with Dingo Bakaba, who introduced the game today, and the way he was talking about how they design gameplay ideas and bring it all together and kind of like meld it all into one really immersive experience was genuinely mind-blowing to me. And now that they're doing it, and that was like within the framework of something that they were familiar with, they had some experience with immersive sims, where, you know, they had Harvey Smith, and a bunch of them have worked in that kind of playfield before. This is something completely different. It feels like they're taking that idea and just like twisting it into something brand new and fresh and innovative. And I am so excited to play this game. And the interesting thing, like they didn't mention it, on the actual event, but both Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop are, it seems like, timed exclusive on PS5. So they're making console debuts on PS5. So I'm surprised they didn't talk about that, but that's something huge. That's a huge feather in Sony's cap for PlayStation 5. If this is the only place that you're going to be able to play them holiday season, that's massive.
But I mean, maybe they didn't do that because every time a platform holder does one of those world exclusives, premiere, like, people at the end of it are always so confused about what exactly that means. And so maybe they just wanted to have this clear-cut presentation, show off the games. Like, by showing at a Sony show, people are going to have it ingrained in their mind that it's a Sony game, even if it is going to come to another platform later on. Just like, I assume this next one will, Resident Evil 8. Is it Resident Evil, like, is it in the style guide now that it can't be called anything that doesn't fit, like, the Roman numerals of the game?
Yeah,
the way the village popped up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's called Village Resident Evil.
Yeah. That was the, I believe that was like the working, the title behind the scenes, like the project title. And that's what leaked earlier. It was being called Village. So they Resident Evil, man. And really interesting that it didn't seem like, there was like, is it Resident Evil? Wait, is this, if the vibe is a bit different from what we'd expect from Resident Evil. It had like a voiceover with someone narrating almost like a fairy tale about like someone going to get berries and that kind of stuff. But the fact that they're doing that instead of just being like very obviously making it clear that this is a Resident Evil game, it makes me excited that they're not just gonna, ride the success of the previous game. They're gonna try and do something stylistically different or tonally different or narratively different. Obviously there is a connection to Resident Evil 7. In case it wasn't obvious, I really like Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil, so I'm gonna yammer on about it for a bit, but like, this is another Ethan story and it's supposed to end Ethan's story.
But is it Ethan or is it Chris they're referring to?
Yeah, it could be Chris.
Because it could be both.
Yeah,
but
so
like the way that Chris came in at the end, and the way that someone was like Chris, no.
Yeah, so like it's
I don't know,
so Chris showed up.
Like, what if they're doing something really interesting with Chris Redfield?
With Chris, yeah, like because Chris shows up at the end of the last game. He's just in, he at the very final sequence. I think, he kind of like rappels down off a helicopter and he's there. So like, but this looks like a very different kind of Chris, and at the time he's working for a kind of organization that is battling these kind of traditional zombie style outbreaks. So the fact that the setup for this game is that Ethan has moved on from what happened in the previous game, but then Chris shows up and instigates something that pulls him back into another kind of horror and nightmare. And by doing what he does, it sets off this kind of chain of events that makes Ethan investigate what is happening to Chris. So this is kind of like Ethan having to save Chris. And it takes them to this mysterious village where it all pops off. So it could be really, really interesting to have like Chris in this villain role, taking the most recognizable character from the franchise's history, arguably one of the most recognizable characters of the franchise history, casting him as a villain, and then having you help him find redemption. That seems like a really, really fascinating way to tackle the story. And obviously, being in a village, huge Resident Evil 4 vibes, like the last Plague Us around, but now we've got werewolves and first person, like, yes, Resident Evil, let's go.
All right, next up. So this next one, we were talking, and when we saw the figure in the spacesuit, we were like, Ludens? Is this Kojima? Tam, throughout the stream, you were saying that your Kojima senses were tingling, and I guess they kind of weren't far off. This is Pragmata, but like, it's by Capcom. So this game actually, I was looking into it, the trademark for this leaked a few weeks ago, but like, what? Is this Death Stranding? Is this Kojima?
Yeah.
I don't think it is. It's... I don't know what it is.
It's something, you know. It's a far way off. Oh, there's a cat too, so you know.
Oh yeah,
we
big
got two
love
cat
cats.
appearances. You know what I'm saying? But you know, in this future, I want real cats. Digitized cats might not do it for me, but I'll take what I can get. And in the future, when this game comes out in 2022, we'll find out what it is, because right now we're just going off based on this trailer, so we don't really know what the gameplay is like. We know a little bit about like the concept, I guess, and like Tam said, like this is super Death Stranding vibes in many ways because of how zany it is. But yeah, like we're not going to get many gameplay details, but man, is this trailer like it presents a lot of questions, like what the hell is this? I think that's the strongest thing you can do for a game that's that far out. Yeah, that I think, you know, instilling that mystery in us is really important. And I just, you know, it's one of those things where you just want to know more.
First of all, where is Deep Down? Is this Deep Down now? Secondly, I think that I bet that character in that spacesuit is not human. I bet that character is some sort of alien and has come from, and the kid is kind of like, he needs to figure out what's, yeah, maybe the last human, but like that character in the spacesuit needs to figure out what happened and why Earth is the way it is now, and the kid is the key to that. And you have this kind of like almost like dipping out of Earth and then back in to try and fix things and figure stuff out. The fact that it's coming from Capcom makes me want to try and pigeonhole it into one of the traditional genres that they used to making, like, you know, a character action game or something like that. But I don't know, man. There's something about the left field nature of this that makes me think of Dragon's Dogma. That was something that that was an unexpected game, and it came out of nowhere. Everyone was like, oh, this kind of looks like a Souls game. And then when they started playing it, they were like, this is like low-key one of the most interesting open world action games in a really long time. And I feel like we could get blindsided again in the same way and have this game, Pragmata, just come out and be like, this has got intense Dragon's Dogma energy where it's completely unexpected from Capcom, and it's surprisingly really clever, and it's got some really fascinating things happening in it, and you got to play it. We'll see, though.
Yeah, and that one's coming out in 2022, so a long time off. But just as we predicted in the pre-show, Horizon Zero Dawn sequel. So this is Horizon Forbidden West from Guerrilla. Looks really beautiful. I mean, what can you say about Horizon? The great thing about that game that I really enjoy is the mesh of like nature, but also futuristic machinery, but nature then reclaiming that back. But it looks so... It just looks like it's taken to, I don't want to say another level. But like, you know what I mean? It just looks like it's gone to that next place.
Yeah.
Just
I think
the color palette is just like intensely angry and red. Really beautiful. And I think
go
basically
ahead.
Olive at the end. Yes, please.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is the sense of scale. Like Horizon Zero Dawn was a huge open world with such beautiful environments, of course, and it pushed the PS4 to its limits even in 2017, because that's what Guerrilla does. But the sense of scale, I think, is the thing that's making this feel like a next generation game. And yeah, like when you see Aloy looking over these cliffs, I mean, we've seen it in games like Red Dead Redemption 2, but to this extent is something else. Because remember, if we take their word on it, this is all in-game footage. So this isn't like pre-rendered stuff, or well, they're using the in-game engine. So if this is the experience that we're going to get, I think this Horizon Forbidden West trailer or reveal is communicating a lot of the types of experiences that we can expect from the PS5, and just how much bigger worlds can feel. I mean, we have games with huge open worlds all the time, but it's different when it's visually communicated just how big these environments are. But also, yeah, I think you mentioned, Lucy, the color palette. There's a sense of dread that is kind of that's the first impression that you get when you're looking at this new Horizon game. And of course, like Horizon Zero Dawn being the first game in the series, it has to do a lot of world building, has to ease you into those sorts of things. But here, it seems like, you know, Aloy, because it also leads in with a monologue of Aloy saying like, I will do anything to save this world, and I'm ready to go. and it shows her going to all these different biomes. So the sense of dread, the sense of intensity is just like right off the bat. That is what the players are, that's what they're communicating to the players. And I'm all for that. I liked Horizon Zero Dawn very much. I'm curious to see how they depict like native parallel lifestyles and tribes, because that's one thing I think they can improve on, is the depiction of that. But yeah, Horizon Forbidden West, this is, you know, in a way it's kind of what we expected, but we're still impressed by seeing it.
I think as well, one thing that I picked up on there is that I remember playing Horizon at the same time as playing Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild is the game that I kept defaulting back to because of the freedom it offered you to climb literally anything. And I know there was some climbing in Horizon, but it felt restrictive. Like you could see a place and you could eventually get there. You couldn't just scale a wall, but I mean, Aloy was climbing something there, and I really hope that they have taken on board and increased her movement and just like put you in this beautiful world, giving you all the tools to go around it. And I mean, the cool, it's like it's some kind of plague or disease, because she says like, I must find a way to stop it or it'll get worse and worse and destroy us all. Like the conceit has been set up, you know, this is what you're doing, this is what you're placed into this world to do, and I just can't wait to just clamber all around it and just explore it. Tam, what do you think?
And the kind of the thing that excites me is like how much of the like Michael said there, like the variety in like the cultures and worlds that they're showing off. Like we had like the Asian looking kind of like dragon, like futuristic holographic dragon thing, and that's one of the things that, you know, is what I think was the strongest part of the first Horizon game, Zero Dawn, is like the amount of care and attention that they put into crafting this kind of culture and a world for that culture to exist into. And like Michael said again, like the scale of it seems way bigger. Like we're seeing the underwater stuff here now. Like Aloy is kind of hanging around underwater. She's got like breathing apparatus, and this makes me think of like an entire underwater civilization where she needs to, you know, kind of sort some stuff out and explore, and basically Gungan City, let's go. But then like Asian like areas and like different biomes and cultures to figure out and understand and piece together. That's one of the most exciting things about it for me. I think you're right in that they will have no doubt paid attention to the various changes and design innovations and steps forward in games like Breath of the Wild and other games, Assassins, that kind of stuff, to see how they can improve. And I would be very surprised if that wasn't in there. So Horizon Zero Dawn, already one of the coolest games of this generation, one of the most like satisfying games to play. I'm interested in seeing what happens to Aloy as a character now. She's moved beyond this kind of, she had a, you know, kind of awakening in the last game, and then a character arc that was very much focused on figuring out her place within the world, and now it's shifting to, now she has that confidence and knows who she is. I'm interested in seeing how she's characterized, and she's becoming more of a hero for the world instead of someone lost and adrift trying to find some steady ground to put her feet on. So it gives Guerrilla a lot of new material or like tone and themes to work with narratively. So I'm excited to see that.
Definitely. Well, what a fantastic showcase from Sony and the PlayStation 5. Final thoughts, Michael?
Ooh, impressive showcase. You know, I think one thing in comparison to what Xbox and PlayStation has done is that Xbox likes to like drip feed. Little by little, they show more and more and more. But I think PlayStation and Sony, they hold their cards close for the big reveal, and that's kind of what we got here. And it's very satisfying, man. Like, of course, this week was supposed to be E3, but this definitely felt like that scale of event with all these different games. I mean, a lot of them are going to be multi-platform games, but some of the like the PlayStation exclusives, Demon Souls Remastered, bro, that's wild. Resident Evil 8 first reveal, Horizon Forbidden West, like heavy hitters up front, and like we got to see the PS5, which is like for me it's an incredible looking console. Like I wanna have that. I want to show that off in my spaces or whatever. So I really think Sony and PlayStation knocked it out of the park with this one. There's a lot to be excited about. Still a lot of questions about some of the games that they did show off, but I mean, like that comes with the territory. And yeah, of course, I'm even more excited about PS5 than I was before the reveal event, of course.
Tam?
Yeah, I still like everything that I saw there, and I think we saw there was impressive and exciting. I think as a first real look at the PlayStation 5 and a first real showcase of what people can get excited and should get excited about, I think Sony pulled it off pretty fantastically. It was a excellent event. Microsoft have been doing amazing work already, and I'm excited and kind of energized for it now. This feels like next gen is really happening now, and I'm so excited to see what they have, Microsoft and Sony. I still have some questions, like across various things, like the Spider-Man thing. It ended with, them saying, be yourself, play yourself, or something like that. What does that mean for the game? Is it like customization? I have other questions about like price and release date specifically. Sony just put out a statement or a non-statement where they said we're going to talk about that later. So hopefully that doesn't take too long. I think the big question is, were those people rendered or not? There was a big theory going around at the time where like every human representative of a video game looked weirdly uncanny valley-ish, to the point where there was a theory that maybe they're all rendered in PlayStation 5 some sort of engine, and there wasn't any sort of that would be cool. Like I still watched it. I think it might have been the lighting and the like depth of field or something like that, but there was a bit uncanny valley happening there. We've kind of reached out to Sony to be like, hey, were those people real? So we'll see if they're like, what the hell are you talking about? But as far as I can, I'm like, Jim Ryan's a real human. Yeah, what are you talking about?
Pride of the Northeast, Jim Ryan, by the way.
Pride of the Northeast, very own Jim Ryan. Big up Jim Ryan. But yeah, I think that was a huge success, and I think everyone's excited about it, and a good start for Sony.
Yeah. Just one more thing though before.
Go on.
One more thing, like said questions about how the console is going to function. We saw a little bit of the home screen, but we didn't get much else other than that in terms of how the console functions. Still a lot of questions. Backwards compatibility. How are PS3, PS2 games going to be integrated, if that? I know there's been some rumblings about that. How are some other features that Xbox have shown off, such as like swapping between games, smart delivery? How's cross-generation going to work? Well, like, are we going to be able to, how's Ghost of Tsushima, how's The Last of Us Part 2 going to work on PS5? Are there going to be improvements? Is it just going to play it straight up? So still a lot more questions. So it's easy to get caught up in the hype. And I love getting caught up in the hype, but still keep in mind that there are still things to be answered, which will, of course, be answered closer we get to console launch, holiday 2020.
Definitely. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Keep it GameSpot for all the rest of the huge reveals that are coming. We have that Ubisoft event, we have EA, there's going to be more from Microsoft, there's Cyberpunk. There's so many digital events. We'll be doing a pre and post show for all of them. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you are so inclined, if you want to donate to Black Lives Matter as well as Direct Relief, we're running daily charity streams with some of your favorite gaming personalities. So make sure to check back and join us there. Michael, Tam, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.